Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about, is Sorority 2 still happening? So, last year I reported that they were gonna bring back the Sorority Row movie. It's been 16 years, it came out in 2009, and the movie didn't do so well. Sorority Row is an okay slasher movie. I actually own it on DVD because of the simple fact, like I said in my review a long time ago of the movie, the first half is really good. But then once you get to the second half and towards the end of the movie, it goes completely goofy and completely campy and everything. It's almost like everybody involved just said, screw it, let's just make a comedy. And everybody just laughed it up. And so it got really silly towards the end. Also, the acting is not pretty good in the movie. I said not pretty good. Not pretty good, not pretty good. There's only probably about maybe one, maybe two people who can do a pretty decent job at acting, and everybody else were up and coming new people who were starting to act, and it really shows and everything. But other than that, the premise of the movie was really good. The kills were really good. And the killing weapon was awesome. It was a tire iron that was tricked out to have a bunch of blades and corkscrews and all kind of other like menacing things to it and stuff like that. Personally, I really wish this movie would have like really been something, but like I said, the acting wasn't that great and it just got silly towards the end. So, but they left off on a huge cliffhanger. Garrett, who was supposed to be dead, apparently is alive. And at the very end of the movie, when you see that guy with his wrist slit and everything with the scars on there, he didn't die from taking his own life. And so he wanted revenge on the sorority house because of the simple fact that it was a prank that went horribly wrong. And so the bunch of sorority girls, they pranked their like one of their sisters and tricked him into thinking he killed this girl. And it's because of something like she threw up on her own vomit, something like that, where they was like doing it and he gave her like a pill or something like that. And so they tricked him and they took him out to like, a junkyard where they was gonna bury her body, still pranking him and everything. But then they all like, oh, we throw her down this mine shaft thing. Like there's too much air in her lungs and, she might float to the top or something like that because there was water down there. So he takes a tire iron and stabs her in the chest, revealing that the girl is still alive. Freaked out and everything, they decide to dump the girl's body and threaten this other girl and say, what, we'll lie and say you did it if you rat us out and everything. So a year passes and then they all start dying one by one and like a bunch of killings and stuff like that and blah. So anyways, there was only four survivors from that movie, Garrett being one of them. And two of the sorority girls and another girl trying to be in the sorority that was the sister of the dead girl. So 16 years later, you assume, hey, it's done, it's over, there's never going to be a sequel. But then all of a sudden, they said they're going to make a sequel to it. Gonna be kind of hard seeing how everybody has aged up now. Because the girls were in college, so, Garrett showing up at the end all pissed off looking with, I don't know how he's going to get revenge, but I guess 16 years later, he's been plotting his revenge and everything. And so the screenwriter of the first movie was on Twitter today. And as I'm just scrolling down Twitter, bored out my mind, I see a post by him. And so the screenwriter is like, what's the dude's name? Josh Stolberg. And basically, he put out a weird tweet talking about, Andy is dead, but the tire iron still goes on or still lives or something like that. The weapon that Andy used to kill people in the first movie. So fans started asking him questions, this and that. So, is this confirmation that they are still making a sequel, or is it just him hoping to bank on a sequel now that I Know What You Did Last Summer is coming out? Now that Urban Legend is getting announced to have like a reboot. I don't know. There's been no talks whatsoever since last year of like them making a sequel. There's been no writer, there's been no director, there's been no producer, there's been no nothing. Now Josh said that he hopes that like Brianna Evigan and Rumor Willis will return for the sequel because they are two survivors. There's another survivor, but he didn't mention her. And so like if they do make a sequel, these two girls need to say yes to the sequel because, well, Brianna hasn't done nothing since 2018, and Rumor has been acting since, but it's only been like one guest star appearance after another on only a few television shows. And mostly all she does now is post half naked pictures of herself on Instagram, breastfeeding her child and everything. And so, yeah, both girls could use the work. Hopefully, like I said before, I'm a fan of Rumor, but I'm hoping her acting has improved. I mean, I hope to God, because in that first movie, it was not good. Now, a lot of people keep saying that Brianna was the like star of like, the first movie, the breakout star, because her acting was pretty much the best out of everybody else in the movie and stuff. And the dude who played Andy, who was in, what was that show called? Pretty Little Liars. I was shocked and surprised to see his acting wasn't that good in the movie because in Pretty Little Liars, he was really good, but in Pretty Little Liars, he got to keep his like original British accent. In the Sorority Row movie, he had to put on a fake American accent. And so, I wouldn't mind seeing, Garrett, plotting his revenge and getting his revenge 16 years later on the girls that pulled like a horrible prank on him. You know what I'm saying? But like the people who was mainly responsible for the prank, they're dead. Andy took them out and everything. So why take it out on these two girls who, even though they was part of the prank, they were the two most innocent ones of them all. And so, like, is the sister gonna come back to get revenge? Because, that was her sister that died, that started the whole killings and everything of the massacre. Like, I know she should want some revenge, so, but, Josh didn't say anything about wanting her to come back, so, it's one of those tricky type of sequels. I mean, it's been so long. So much time has passed. If they was gonna get a sequel, it should have been years ago. And so if Garrett, like he said, is still alive and everything, which we knew he was alive at the end of the movie, if Garrett decides just to go after a random sorority for the heck of it, then that would be stupid. Like, the two survivors really need to come back, and so does the sister. So I don't know if this is still getting a sequel. It could just be him wishful thinking, trying to get the ball rolling. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Alrighty. Well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.